Now, here's the point that distills out of it that no one is thinking about. When you have sex with someone, you're picking up their traumas and you're
Oh
getting
yeah.
their stuff all over you, which is why I
Oh
think
yeah.
promiscuity.
And there is no condom for that,
I could,
unfortunately.
yes. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
brilliant. I love that. There's no condom for bad energy. I'm going to steal that from
Yeah.
you, Bad Boy. But if you think about it, you're getting a woman's drama and trauma and all that all over you when you have intercourse. It's so promiscuity.
You have to be super careful who you sleep with today, really, like, and I have seen that on ayahuasca. Sorry, interrupt. Like, yeah, like, I actually during the process, I realized I picked up, shamans call this kind of devil egg. Okay, it's basically trauma that goes into you and it stays there, and you start like behaving differently, but kind of it really feels in your stomach, like and so basically they did like cleaning, and I really remember who the girl was, because after that sex she told me, like, do you remember you slept with a girl and you felt next morning you wanted to puke, you felt like worse, like it's not happy, but like disgusting. And I was like, yes, I remember, like, and it was a kind of Ukraine something, like. And she's like, okay, now let's clean it, like so yes, it is like you have to be super careful. Even with with lots of girls you can get traumas. It's not beautiful happy life, so guys, be careful who you sleep with, who you share your intimate space with, who you have sex with, because it really, when you're having sex, it's not just sex, it's so much of energy is being transmuted, and exchanged.
So
Well,
we got to
sexual
worry about
sexual
STDs
transmutation.
and STTs, sexually transmitted trauma.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
also like to say when the penis goes in, the crazy comes out. You have to be careful of that too, because once that dick goes in, her craziness, the red flags get set on fire. It's a raging forest fire. So be careful where you put that thing.
Let me contrast this with my point, because other than what Ross said with the acute trauma, and that's like what bad boy experienced, acute trauma, getting shot, that's crazy, or sexual trauma. I'm on the contrast, right, where I believe, and I'm not an advocate of trauma release at all, because as a man, I don't believe you can go through life without trauma. And I believe that it's pivotal as for a man to not only quote unquote get his shit together, but going through all of not only my experiences, every traumatic event has been a catalyst to propel me to the destination that I needed to go through. So one of the things I look at is, like, we call it law of attraction and stuff, but I'm always very careful of it, because you say, like, I want $1 million. You don't know what's going to happen for you to get that $1 million. I know guys that I want to get an amazing girlfriend, and then they get the most traumatic event ever that catapults them to becoming the person that is attractive to get that girl. So I'm of a proponent that it's unrealistic for a man to ever expect never to have trauma. I think I'm a very big advocate for women to do trauma release, for sure. Absolutely. Because I don't think they're built with the emotional capabilities to be able to suppress stuff or utilize the trauma like men can. And so I'm on the proponent where I actually, this is going to sound weird, but I actually cause trauma within myself. So one of the things I do that I've been doing recently in the last couple of years is any fear that I have to go do, right? And so I'll give you an example. And my buddies know this. Like, I recently went snowboarding, and it doesn't seem like much of a fear. But when I was about 14, I strapped into a mountain board, like a mountain skateboard with your feet trapped in, on the white cliffs of Dover. And I couldn't stop myself. If you know the white cliffs of Dover, it's a freaking mountain. And I came off, I broke a couple of ribs. And so I've had that trauma there. But I knew that the only way I was going to release the trauma is go into the trauma and either kind of explode it with doing the thing that was scary, which was trapping myself in on snowboarding. Now my buddies even knew this more. They were like, all right, yeah, you did the first couple of runs. Let's go to this run. It's a super easy run, except it was called the machine gun or something. Because I'm in Threadbow. Anyways, it was a black diamond. It was the hardest run you could do with this snowfield. And I went down there, and it was the only way to ever release the trauma was to even go further into it. So like it's almost like an embracing of it. So the more I've done that in my life, the more that the traumas have been a blessing. Now that's hard for a lot of people to hear. And I'll give you another example. I say a great example. My mother had a stage 4 cancer. So two organs, her liver and her lungs. And it was the greatest thing that ever happened to our relationship ever. We've never fought ever since. We used to fight every day. Never fought ever since the diagnosis. And you might be like, well, you changed the way you did it. No, it was the greatest thing that happened because it brought us closer together. Because I would have to take her to the surgeries. I would have to take her to the immunotherapy, radiation, blood transfusion stuff. Best thing that ever happened. So when I've really noticed it, I am contrary to the idea of this trauma release, other than acute, like Ross, you said, that can get really, really where you have to go to a therapist. But even that, I've known of therapy where they get them to talk about it and write about it and live it and go into it till it becomes numb. Yeah.
I'm not talking
That's
about
my 2 cents.
I'm not talking about that. And I think there may be a confusion there between a phobia and a genuine trauma. But we could go into this and cut hairs and split the hair forever. I'm just glad.
Of course.